Hey everyone, long time no see. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Today we are going to be doing a newer style video. It's going to be a vlog. You're going to be hanging out with me over the weekend, and I have 4 books here that I'm going to be doing a first chapter taste test to see which book I want to read over the weekend. Maybe I'll get to another one, but I know that I want to at least read one. So I have, again, 4 books here. The first one is Near the Bone by Christina Henry. I've heard a lot of good things about this book. I heard that it's scary, it's sad, it's very riveting, it's very moving, all the different things, so I'm excited about that one. Then I also have The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher, and I've just heard that this is a really scary kind of thriller, slasher, that kind of thing, so I'm excited about that. Then I also have The Invited by Jennifer McMahon, and I've heard that this one is about ghosts, so paranormally, supernatural. Super excited about that too. And then the last one is The Nesting by C.J. Cook, and I don't really know anything about this one besides that it's like a possibly haunted house, spooky, the middle of nowhere, you know, that kind of thing. So I have those 4 books, and I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited to be back. I apologize if it's been a while, but you know, life happens and the show must go on, so we're going to keep going on. But I will check in back with you. I want to read the first chapter of these books, and then I'm going to tell you what I thought about the first chapter and which book I'm going to be reading for this weekend vlog. I hope you enjoy it. So I just finished the first chapter of Near the Bone by Christina Henry, and I can see why people say that this is going to be a really hard book to read, because it is about a woman named Maddie and her husband named William, and they live in the middle of nowhere in a cabin, and he is abusive towards her, and she has to be a submissive wife and all that kind of stuff. So I can see why this would be a hard read. And there's also something lurking around the woods that has tracks that are bigger than a bear and that makes screechy noises in the night, and they're in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, I'm intrigued because I want to find out what the thing is, obviously. But I just know that it's going to be a hard book to get into. Well, not get into because I'm already intrigued, but it's going to be a hard book to read because William is just a peach. He is being very sarcastic here. He is a butthole, and I already don't like him. He is much older than Maddie. Maddie's only like 20. She doesn't really know how old she is because she was married off to him at a very young age, and she's lost track of time, and she just knows that he's he's quite older than she is. So that's where we're at with this. So we'll see how much I like that. Oh, by the way, this whole video concept, first, I've been seeing it all around YouTube, like the first taste test or whatever, but then I also did a poll on Instagram, and this book, and this book are what people chose for me to read, but then I got this one in the mail, so I just threw this one in too. And I wanted to do a reading vlog, so yeah, that's where this video idea came from, just in case you wanted to know, but you probably didn't. Here's the picture of my Instagram, and if you're not following me on Instagram, you need to. I'll leave all the information in the description box below for you, so you can go follow me on there in case you want to. The next book I'm going to get into is The Invited, and all I know about this book is that the first chapter is not 20 pages like this one. It's only 7, so that's always a good thing. No, it's only 9, sorry, it's 9. Well, that was the, hold on, that was the, okay, so, with these taste tests, if there is an introduction, like a prologue, is that considered to be chapter 1, or do I have to read chapter 1 too? Or can I just make my own rules? Probably, I'm just going to make my own rules. I'm going to read the introduction and chapter 1, so I lied. That's 29 pages. So I'll see you in a minute with this one, and then I'm gonna whatever. You understand. Oh, how do you like my new bookshelf? See? I got a new bookshelf. So pretty. It is. Okay. So this is how horror movies start. An unexpected couple wanting a simple country life move onto a piece of land that is supposedly haunted. Helen and Nate. Helen and Nate. I need to enunciate my words. They're living in the city. She wants a simpler life, like she grew up. She grew up on like a little farm thing, and her dad was a contractor. But the prologue of this is what gets me. So the prologue is about Hattie, and Hattie was a healer of the town, and everybody went to her, and she could see the future and all that kind of stuff. She knew something bad was going to happen. She told people, they didn't believe her. They just kept living their lives, and then a schoolhouse burnt down and killed all the children in the town. So now, or they were mad, and they decided to hang her on the land that Helen and Nate just bought for a very, very, very low price, and they're super excited. They were told that the land was haunted, but they went ahead and did it anyways. So that's how that first started, and we shall see how it goes. I do see chapter 2. So chapter 1 was Helen, chapter 2 is somebody named Olive. So I'm assuming this book is going to have alternating chapters. I'm going to flip through, yep, alternating chapters. So there's that. And then now I'm going to read the first chapter of The Nesting, which has a prologue. That's only 2 pages. And then the first chapter is only 6 pages, so that's not too bad. It's me again. So I just finished the first chapter of The Nesting. There was a prologue to this as well. The prologue was pretty intense, like straight off the bat. That first chapter was also pretty intense. The first chapter is about a girl named Lexi, and she tried to kill herself. So there's that. If you're interested in this book, just go into it knowing that happened. But her and her boyfriend just broke up. She moved out. She has nowhere to go. She's on a train. She's crying. She's writing a book as well. And her character in her book is based off of her and how her life is ruined and stuff like that. So that's where that's going. But yeah, the prologue was pretty intense. But that was that. If you hear banging and stuff going around, we're getting a new dishwasher installed. And then here in a little bit, I'm going to be going and getting my hair done. So the next time you see me, I will have a new do, and it won't be a bun like this, per usual. But yeah, so I am going to read the first chapter of The Twisted Ones. This one, I don't remember how many pages are in the first chapter, but I probably already told you this. But there are 9 pages in the first chapter, so we are fixing to find out which book I'm going to be reading for this blog. Hey, so I'm back. So I just read the first chapter of this Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher, and I like the narrator. Her name is Maggie, I believe. I'm terrible with names. Melissa. Maggie, wow. But she goes by Mouse. Her nickname is Mouse. And on the back side, her name is Mouse as well. So we're going to call her Mouse. And she is writing about something that happened to her at her grandmother's house. Her grandmother was not a good woman at all, by the sound of it. She was just very snappy, nippy, always causing trouble, you know, that type of person. And Mouse's dad has asked her to go to the house and clean it after her grandmother has passed away. So that's what that is. Alright. I like the narrator in this one. She's very funny, and she also has a dog named Bongo. And he is a coon hound that's not good at hunting, and he's just, in her words, she's not that smart. So I'm not interested in this one at the moment. I don't know if I like this couple, because it just feels like they've like brought it on themselves by moving into a haunted house. And so I don't know if I want to read this. And it's between this one, because I'm intrigued on what the thing is in the forest, and it's this one because I'm intrigued on what she finds in the house. Which one do I pick? I don't know. Which one would you pick? So I still have no idea which book I'm going to read. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the second chapter of each book just to see which one catches my attention more. It's the first chapters. Both of the, okay, we're going to do a tiebreaker. Both of these were equally intriguing to me. So that's why I'm going to see which one, like if the second chapter intrigues me a little bit more. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read the chapter, yeah. I just said it. I don't know why I'm explaining myself again. That's what I'm going to do. Glad I figured it out with you. Thanks for the help. Hey, so it is the next day and I'm here to check in with you. I didn't get to check in last night because I got busy getting my hair done. Went a little bit darker, going back to my normal or natural hair color. I've been blonde or blonder for a couple years now, and I was just ready for something different, you know? And then I got some layers cut in my hair, so it's all like flippy and stuff. So anyways, I wanted to update you on the books that I read. So what I decided to do, because I was enjoying both of Near the Bone and the Twisted One so much, is to just read both of them in this walk. So last night I was able to get halfway through this one, and then I spent this morning getting to the 50% mark and then a little bit farther. So I'm on page 245 in this book, and I'm on page, let's see, 156 in this. So did I look at that right? Yeah, no, I did not look at that right. 159 in this book. I'm just gonna like run down my feelings about both of these books. For one, I find both of these books very entertaining in different ways. This one is more, I want to know exactly what the monster thing is running around the woods killing animals and all that kind of stuff. I want to know. Maddie, we did find out more about her relationship. She was very young when her and William met, and she's been with William for a really, really long time. And I said in previous clips that their relationship is based off a lot of abuse. William is very abusive and expects Maddie to be a very submissive wife, and that's all she really knows, and she's not allowed to leave the cabin unless William allows her to. She's also not allowed to eat food unless he allows her to, and it's all about him allowing her to do things. And I have a really big problem with that. Submissiveness is not in my vocabulary, me being who I am, and that part of the book is really hard to read, but I think the author is doing a really good job with kind of putting that in there to show why Maddie is staying, but also the fear factor of she's by herself, she's with this abusive husband, but then there's also a monster lurking in the woods. She doesn't know which one's worse, you know? She doesn't really know which one's worse. And then on the back of the book, it does say that she meets 3 strangers. And that's pretty much where I'm at with that book, or with the book, like in the book right now. It's, you meet or you don't meet. It's very hard to explain, but you hear the monster and you see the monster pretty soon in this book. So like I said, I think it's more who's the worst thing? Is it the monster lurking in the woods, or is William actually like worse than the actual monster itself? So again, I am where we meet the other 3 people. We met 2 of them earlier, but then we meet other people, and the 3 people are actually, what are they called? The people that like hunt monsters, that want to find out like Bigfoot and stuff like that. It's a zoologist or something like that. Anyways, there's a specific name for them. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but they are those people. So they track down monsters in the woods and try to get like video footage and evidence that there's actual monsters, because there has been sightings of the monster in this book and they want to see, and then they help Maddie out as well. So that's where we're at in this book. Enjoying it. Then we're in this book. This book, y'all, it is weird and it is entertaining. I really like our protagonist in this book, Mouse. I really like her. She's very sarcastic. She has a dry sense of humor. She loves her dog. She's very adventurous. I connect a lot with her just by like her self-berating jokes and all that kind of stuff, because I'm like that too. There is some past trauma here, and she hides it by like with the self-berating humor and stuff like that, and I just think that it's entertaining. She's very entertaining. The people, our side characters that she meets, are very entertaining, and it's set in the deep woods in South Carolina, one of the Carolinas, and I'm enjoying the dialogue because it reminds me a lot of my family too, just like Southern people in general, how they speak, the jokes, urban legends, all that kind of stuff. It's, if you're from the South, you probably know a lot of urban legends around your region where you live, and there's a lot in this book, and I'm enjoying that because it kind of reminds me of home, you know? I wouldn't want to be where Mouse is at right now, because her grandmother was a hoarder and the house is an absolute mess, and she's having to clean it out so they can try to sell it, like her and her dad try to sell it. But I wouldn't want to be in that situation, especially with what's going on out in the woods. No. Heck no. And then Chris and I are getting our house built, and it's like set off near a patch of woods, and then I told him this morning, I was like, great, I'm reading 2 books with something going on in the woods, and we're about to move to the woods. And I'm like, I don't know the history of the land. Anyways, I don't know the history of the land or nothing like that, but I'm enjoying these 2 books. That is the whole point of this clip right here. I'm enjoying these 2 books very much so, and I do believe that I will be able to get through with these. I'm kind of alternating. That's what I did. I read like 3 or 4 chapters of this one, because this one, like I said, is harder to read because of the abuse that's going on between the couple. And then I've been flying through this one just because I like Mouse and I like her commentary. The only thing that I haven't really liked about this book is that she finds a manuscript that her grandfather wrote that she's been looking for, and she finally finds it. I didn't really particularly care for those parts. I thought they were a little too long, and I didn't think that they needed to be put in the book. But that's the only critique that I have of this book so far. One of the critiques that I have about this is just William being a total douchebag, and he's not a good person. But I do think that William is going to get what's coming to him. Possibly. But that is my update for right now. I'm going to read a little bit, and then I will most likely see you later on. Well, duh, you're going to see me later on because I'm going to update you on books. Okay, so I just got, I don't even know if I can talk about it because it's creepy. So I started reading this book again, and this one chapter, like, okay, so if you hear something in the woods that's screaming at you very, very loudly, and you know that it's really big because you've seen the paw prints, would you go running toward it, or would you run away from it? Because if I hear something in the woods, I'm not going to go towards it, because I'm going to go away from it. Because I'm that flight or flight person. Flight or fight. I'm not a fighter. I'm not going to go towards it when it comes to like wild animals, because they're smart. They know how to hunt, which I know how to hunt too, but that's not what I'm saying. They are like skilled. That's their nature. That's where they live. They live in the woods. So why would you go towards it? And then I find out that this thing, this isn't a spoiler. I hope not. If it's a spoiler, go like this. Until I have the book down, go like this. but it can climb trees. Yeah, I said it. Piece of advice: if you hear something in the woods, like you're just, if you're a hiker, if you hear something in the woods and it's coming and you hear wah and you hear it scream, don't go towards it. You need to get away from it. Like, come on, come on. That's just common sense. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm just a wuss, or maybe I'm just smart. I don't know. That common sense is like kicking in. Sometimes it's pretty much all there, but sometimes it's not. But I'm saying don't walk towards the sound that screams at you like that. Especially if you know that it's bigger than a bear. Okay? Bears are pretty freaking big. Even grizzly bears. And the paw prints are bigger than grizzly bears. And then these people are want to walk towards it and they want to catch it on camera. I don't care. No. I'm not walking towards something like that. I'm walking away from it. There's my TED Talk. Thank you. I have a question. So if you're running from a monster, well, technically two monsters. You're running from a monster that you have no idea what it looks like, and it is like stalking you, and then there's another monster, a human monster that's out there. Why would you continue to just like, why wouldn't you be quiet? Because it seems like Maddie is the only one that actually has sense. You know, yes, I am on the floor because my chair was hurting my back and the floor is not doing any more justice, and I'm around books. I told you that books were just everywhere and they're everywhere. But yeah, so I don't get it. Like, just shut up. Like, you know, just be quiet. I don't understand. I don't get it. Just stop talking. Especially after something that just happened here. And then just keep talking. Like, if something like that happened to me, which I don't want to ruin it, if something like that happened to me, I wouldn't say anything. I would just be like, yeah, I ain't trusting the chick that's been living in the woods for forever. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. Just, it's like, I know this is a horror book, but it's like when you watch a horror movie and you're supposed to be like super quiet, and there's just like one person in the group that just won't shut up, and then that's how people die. So we need to talk. First off, my team played like trash and we lost. It's not a good sign. Second off, should we go with the bad news or the good news first? Let's do the good news and then I'll have my little rant session. Good news is I really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I thought that it was a wild ride. Mouse was a great character. I loved her and her dog's relationship. I loved her friendship with, what's her name? Foxy. I really liked their friendship. Like, it was full of fun. It was full of laughs. It was full of terror. It was just ongoing, nonstop, all the way through. Now, let's talk about it. The reason it got 4 stars is because around the, not that, no, hold on, let me get to it. It was like chapter 16, yeah. Okay, so chapter 16, this is when it starts to get really weird, and then from then on, the story just kind of goes like it could have been one of those stories where it was like very realistic, and then it just took a fantastical twist, and I was kind of confused for the most part because I have a really hard time envisioning that kind of thing, like envisioning fantastical worlds without world building. But then I hate world building, which is why I like reading about like realistic things. So it kind of, the last 120 pages, I was kind of lost a little bit, and it was just very weird. Like, I think that if the author would have just stuck with the house and the haunted aspect of the woods and didn't go to the fantastical thing, then it would have been fine. And I would have liked it a lot better. And I would have given it 5 stars. But that's not to say this is a bad book, because I really enjoyed it. Like, I thought that it was a fun read, even though it's horror. but it was still fun. Mouse's character kind of like gave it that fun aspect because, like I said in the beginning, she's very sarcastic and she's very witty, and her humor is dry, and I appreciate that. So I liked this book. Okay, now this book, I was enjoying this book. This book would have been a total 5-star for me as well. But the ending, I literally looked at my husband and I was like, what the crap was that? Like, what kind of ending was that? I did not like this ending. The last 50 pages of this book felt very, very rushed to me. Like, it was so intense. And then, I lied about the last 20 pages of this book. I'll say 20 pages, not 50. We'll say 20. Those 20 pages of this book were super, 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 super fast paced. And it did not match pace of the rest of the book whatsoever at all. The only thing at the end of this book that I enjoyed was one of the characters dying, and I'm not going to say who because I don't want to spoil it, but that was like the only thing about this book that really, that was the only thing about the ending of this book that I was like, okay, I can get down with that. And I know that sounds terrible because you don't want any characters to die, but if you've ever read this book, you know who I'm talking about, so there we go. But, like, I know, so that the ending knocked this book down to a 3-star for me because I hated it that much. Like, I really just did not like it at all. It was very disappointing to me, but I have realized through this little experiment, through this little taste test, if you will, I do enjoy horror books about forests. I do enjoy that. I also like when there's a house involved. Typically in horror, from what I've read, houses are involved. Houses are involved, but I did figure that out. Would I recommend these 2 books to you? Yes, I would. Just know going into this book, you're going to get some discussions and you're going to get some scenes that deal with domestic abuse and graphic scenes, like very graphic scenes. You will get those. So domestic abuse is like one of the main themes in here, so if that is something that you have a hard time with, I would skip it. But if that's not something that is triggering for you, I would recommend picking this up. Just know I didn't like the ending of this book, but you never know, you might like those kind of endings. Would I recommend this book? Yes, I would recommend this book. There really aren't a lot of trigger warnings in here. She is starting off talking about her mental health. Mouse's mental health. She's talking about that. Her family also has a lot of mental health issues, so she does talk about that sometimes. But in her way of dealing with it is through humor, and she talks about it humorously. If you don't like that kind of thing, then this might not be for you. But this book really didn't have any like graphic horror scenes. It was more of just like imagery that was disturbing, if that makes sense. Like, some of the scenes in here were disturbing, but they were more eerie than they were like gross, if that makes sense. And just know that there is like a fantastical twist to this book. But all in all, I really liked this little taste test thing. I think I'm going to do it again. Probably with more horror books, because I'm in the made-to-read horror or some type of thriller or something like that. I'll probably include these 2 books in again. I wasn't really feeling either of these books, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, maybe I just need to like continue with this video in another video, like a part 2, to read these books. But I also have some more books that I want to put on the list, and I see one right there, and I forgot about it, and I was going to put it in this. So, I might just start a new video right after this one, part 2. We'll see. I mean, you'll end up seeing it anyways because it's going to be posted. But if you enjoyed this type of video, please let me know down below. Let me know what type of horror books that you've read. Like, What type of horror books have you read? At all for the season? What's your favorite type of horror book? What's your favorite horror book? Type, whatever, genre. Any of the subgenres are cool. Just let me know down below. If you have not already, please hit that subscribe button. I love to see you here, and I love to be able to talk to you down in the comments. If you don't follow me on my social media, which is only Instagram, because I'm not about TikTok, I'm not about Twitter, whatever. If you want to follow me on Instagram, all that stuff is in the description box down below. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.